Have you ever wondered if your bank account has a past life? You know, if your financial struggles or successes have roots that go way deeper than you think? Today, we're diving into this really fascinating ancient text that claims your fortune was pretty much written in a life you lived long, long ago. This right here is the heart of it all. It's from the Book of Three Lives, and it basically means past life's cause, present life's effect. It's a simple idea, but it's also kind of mind-blowing. Everything you did in a past life, all that karma, is directly shaping the money and opportunities you have right now. So that's the big question, isn't it? Could your whole financial future already be laid out based on a life you don't even remember? It's a wild thought. But according to this book, not only is that the case, but we can actually read the map. So let's figure out how. So let's get into it. The whole idea here is that your fortune isn't just random luck. The book says it's a direct inheritance, a result of what you did in a life before this one. The Book of Three Lives, or the Sun Shishu, isn't just some vague philosophy. No, it gets super specific. It actually lays out a method to figure out which of 12 different financial paths you're on. So get ready to find out which one is yours. Okay, let's do this. This is the fun part, where you actually get to participate. We're going to use the book's ancient formula to figure out your personal fortune type, and you'll probably be surprised by how easy it is. All right, you'll need your birth date for this. First step, just take the very last digit of the year you were born. Simple enough. Second, you need your birth month, but according to the lunar calendar. And here's a really important little note. If you were born before February 4th, you actually need to use the previous year for this to work. So let's walk through a quick example so it's perfectly clear. Say someone was born in October of 1977. The last digit of the year is a 7. The birth month is 10. So you look at the chart from the book, find where the year digit 7 and the month 10 meet, and boom, you get your result, Zheng Lu, which translates to the frugal fortune. Go on, take a second and find your own. Pause if you need to. You got it? Awesome. Now for the really cool part. Let's find out what your past life has in store for you. Now that you have your result, let's see what it all means. There are 12 different possibilities, and we're going to start right at the top, with the paths for people who basically hit the financial jackpot. Okay, first up, we've got the heavy hitters, the super rich and the great fortune paths. If you got super rich, wow, you're supposedly set for just incredible wealth, especially if you start your own business or work abroad. The great fortune path is also amazing, but the money comes from a different place. It's all about stability, making smart connections, and not taking crazy risks. Next up are the paths for the self-made folks, the fortunes you build with your own two hands. If you landed on effort-based, your success is tied directly to how smart and educated you are. So a professional career, think doctor or lawyer, is your best bet. Then there's the frugal path. This is for the hard workers, the diligent savers. The advice is to just quietly build your wealth bit by bit. And finally, the toiling fortune. This is for people who can be a bit indecisive and miss out on things. For you, the key to a good life is to pick one valuable skill and just master it. Now let's look at a couple of the more unconventional paths. The bitter than sweet path? Well, it's just like it sounds. Life might start out pretty tough, without much support. But the story has a happy ending, because through great friendships and business partners, wealth really comes through in your later years. And then there's the leaves home fortune. This one is so interesting because its meaning has totally changed over time. You know, back in the day, leaving your hometown was a huge struggle. But now, you could totally see this as the path of a modern global entrepreneur, someone who's meant to find their fortune out in the big wide world, not in their own backyard. But, you know, not every path is smooth sailing. Like this quote says, sometimes the money comes in quick, but it leaves even quicker. So, let's look at the fortunes that kind of come with a warning label. What's so wild about these next three paths is they're all tied directly to your character. It's less about fate and more about a personality trait you have to manage. So if you got money comes and goes, the challenge is that you make a lot, but you spend it just as fast. The fix? You guessed it, a strict budget. The avaricious path points to greed, where you might hoard money but never actually enjoy it. The way out is to find value in things other than cash. And finally, the lazy path is a warning against getting too comfortable. The advice is simple. You have to be proactive and go after what you want. And our last two paths show this really powerful contrast. On one side, you've got the ancestral blessing. These are the people born with a silver spoon, all thanks to some good deeds in a past life. Their job is just to not mess it up, preserve the family wealth. But on the other side,
you have the contentment. These people are born with very little, but their real wealth is that they're happy. And that contentment, the book says, often leads to a surprisingly rich and peaceful old age.
So this is the big question, right? You've just found your supposed financial path from a past life. What are you supposed to do with that? Is your fate sealed, or is it something else? Look, the real takeaway here isn't that your destiny is set in stone. It's better to think of your fortune as a kind of personality profile. It's a guide. It shows you your potential strengths. Maybe you're a hard worker or great at networking, and it points out your potential challenges, like being lazy or indecisive. It's not a final verdict. It's just a map of the raw materials you're working with in this life. And really, all of this ancient wisdom brings us to a very modern choice. Knowing what you're naturally inclined towards, the path that's been laid out for you, that gives you a special kind of power. It's the power to lean into what you're good at, work on what you're not, and ultimately decide if you're going to walk that path or use it as a starting point to blaze a brand new trail. As always, the choice is yours.